China. China has denied the United States carrier. Our military is really getting lambasted. Our military here in the U.S. has really, it continues to be disrespected by nation among nation. We've been disrespected by the nation of Iran. We've been disrespected by the nation of Russia. And now we're being disrespected by China. China has denied U.S. carrier group entry to Hong Kong amid the South China Sea tensions. I got a soundbite. Okay. Is it okay if I play it?
Oh, don't forget Cuba.
Okay.
Yeah, them too.
Amazing.
It's amazing.
We have been disrespected. Yes. Our United States military has been horrifically disrespected. I apologize for that ding. We have a soundbite here. China.
Our Chief National Security Corps.
Hold on, Wolf. China denying U.S. carrier group entry to Hong Kong. You don't. Since when does China have to say as to whether we can send our carrier to go deliver what we typically do to Hong Kong? It's a port visit, but we're talking about the disputed Spratly Islands. Listen, with this headline, with the soundbite we're about to play you, it also includes another close call by Russian jets yet again against U.S. airplanes, U.S. Navy. U.S. Air Force, our U.S. military. Russia jet makes again another aggressive move. Check this out. Both headlines in the soundbite. All right, play it.
Our Chief National Security Correspondent Jim Shudos with me here. What are we learning about this latest close encounter between a Russian fighter jet and the U.S. military plane?
When you hear the details about this, this is truly an alarming maneuver. This is a Russian fighter jet that did a barrel roll of a U.S. RC-135. That's a reconnaissance plane that was flying in international waters over the Baltic Sea. It came within 25 feet of the plane's wingtip and then flipped over the top of it, the barrel roll to the other side. This is the second time in 2 weeks that a Russian jet has done this to a U.S. reconnaissance plane in the area. And of course, it came just a couple of weeks after this, what we're seeing here, when a Russian jet came within 25 feet as well, or 50 feet, I should say, of the USS Donald Cook in the Black Sea. So this has become a consistent pattern. The U.S. calls these not only unprofessional, but truly dangerous. And when I speak to U.S. officials, they're genuinely worried that at some point, one of these is going to get too close. You could have an accident. It could be deadly. And that could lead to something even more serious.
A disaster in the making. Now, the tensions with Russia clear, but also some tensions with China right now. What are you learning about the decision by the Chinese to prevent a U.S. aircraft carrier from making a visit to Hong Kong?
So this is the USS Stennis. It was going to make a what is a very routine visit for U.S. warships to Hong Kong, which is now controlled by China, but that request denied. Now, the timing of this, extremely interesting, because the Stennis was in the South China Sea just 2 weeks ago. In fact, the Defense Secretary Ash Carter visited the Stennis while it was there, the South China Sea, where China is building man-made islands. The U.S. opposes this very much. That visit by not only the Stennis, but the U.S. Defense Secretary to the South China Sea, Wolf, was intended to be a message. And I think you're not going out on a limb here to say that China is sending a message by denying the ship. And I should say, while the Stennis was denied, there's another ship, the USS Blue Ridge, that is in a Hong Kong port visit right now. Interesting that the Stennis, which was just in the South China Sea, was not.
And usually these are routine visits and not so routine anymore. All right, Jim, thanks very much. We're all...
Wow. It says Pentagon spokesman Commander Bill Urban said another U.S. warship, the USS Blue Ridge, was currently in Hong Kong on stopover. I apologize for that. That's Facebook going off here. Currently in Hong Kong on a stopover, and the U.S. expected that to continue. Urban added that the request for a Hong Kong visit by the carrier and its strike group, which have been patrolling the South China Sea, was recently denied, despite a long track record of successful port visits to Hong Kong. The Chinese government, as well as the country's embassy in Washington, did not comment on the move. The warship requested a port call permit early on Thursday. The South China Morning Post newspaper, citing the Chinese Foreign Ministry, reported that port calls by U.S. warships and military aircraft had to be approved on a case-by-case basis, in accordance with sovereignty principles and specific circumstances. So now all of a sudden, they put up the stop sign and said, not so fast. Things, have changed. We're in charge now. And it's up to us as to whether you want to come or not.
No, yeah, it seems like everybody's in charge of our military.
Oh, dear.
Like, instead of, we don't got a commander-in-chief here.
Oh, jeez.
Everybody else is commanding-in-chief of our military out
Wow.
there. And even in Syria and all that. I mean, Russia goes in there without, a minute to bomb Syria, tells them to get out. I mean, even Russians have the authority. They had the power to stop U.S. planes from bombing themselves and let Russians go in and do the job. I mean, they stopped the military to do something that they were doing from the commanders in the Navy or whatever, Air Force. It's stunning that we're seeing this, that other countries are just telling what to do to our military.
They are. Yes, it is stunning to see. It's stunning that we have 2 destroyers, 2 cruisers, and a Japan-based U.S. 7th Fleet flagship sailed into contested waters of the South China Sea in early March to counter the presence of China. We know that the Spratly Islands have been a hot dispute. China claiming that it's theirs. You have surrounding nations stating, no, it's not. And that's where you get the dispute. You have the U.S. siding with the other nations, stating, China, we don't believe that you own this area. And China has claimed we do, and we're going to prove it to you. So they have since then made man-made islands.
Yes.
And now on these man-made islands done by China, they have now erected military bases. And some very serious military arsenal, as if to be willing to protect this man-made area in the middle of the China Sea, willing to fight. And I'm talking about with surface-to-air missiles. I'm talking about with military arsenal that is equipped to destroy, vessels, Navy destroyers, including ours. They have challenged the U.S. on multiple occasions as we've sailed by. What are we looking at here, honey? Is this just, a tit for tat? Are we looking something at a more dangerous level that the Obama administration refuses to acknowledge?
Well, that's what it is. They're not going to acknowledge it because it's something that China's doing out there. These islands, what they're doing, it's in the future. It's going to be a big part of something that's going on, something of a military action, because they're so protective of it. They're protecting it as it was a child. It's just something that. They don't even want the military to fly over close to it, and they're warning the U.S. to get out of their airspace or their sea space. I mean, it's just something that we're seeing now, that even Obama probably knows what they're really doing. Even Putin knows probably what they're doing. But I mean, it's just something that we would love to know what it is about, but we kind of have an idea of the Chinese trying to build something that is gonna be for something that it's out there for us, that we're gonna see with our own eyes. Something out there is really making these Chinese protect that island or the surroundings of it, and not letting even ships go through there, even commanding our military to stop and wait on us so we could take inventory or whatever. But it's just not right what they're doing.
It's been reported that the territorial disputes over the islands in the South China Sea is rich in deposits of natural resources. In what detail, in what manner, I have no idea. But what could you guess as to what it could be?
On that island?
Yeah, I mean, it says here that territorial disputed over the islands that China is now claiming in the South China Sea is rich in deposits of natural resources. Are we talking oil? I mean, we're coming out of our ears with oil when it comes to the world's oil right now. There's got to be something more. Could it be gold?
It could be gold. I mean, striking oil is like getting gold, right?
It is.
I mean, even the Saudis right now are going low on oil, right?
No, well, they're overflowing in oil. They're refusing to cut down their production, but they're saying that we're looking at the end of oil as we know it. Not because they don't have enough, but because they're overflowing and the oil's crashing.
It must be something else that the Chinese is.
What deposits? I wonder. What natural resource could it be?
Because you could get gold from the ocean, right?
Sure. I mean, people do gold digging now in the ocean. Maybe they know that there's gold under there, and they're claiming it's our money.
Yeah, and that's it's a hot spot. and I guess they discovered something that they don't want anybody to be even having missiles out there to protect it. I mean, there's something hot that they don't want to give up,
Right.
and they will go to war with it. I mean, it's something that they found, I guess, but it's just funny that they took over that part and nobody could do anything about it.
Wow.
Not even the U.S. You know, they could probably take over anything. They could probably take over, you know, close to Santa Monica Beach, something like that. And they can't even do anything. But it's just stunning that they could just take over part of the ocean, part of the world, and nobody do anything about it.
What has happened? We know the United Nations has stated against it. The U.S. has rebuked it, but in all reality, they're still building. You're right.
They're still there.
So that it almost looks like they could claim a stake in any part of the world.
Yeah.
And what's also troubling, honey, is that China was they had one of their military naval vessels sail near Alaska last year. Why? You know, they when asked, we had China state that you know, they were just you know, sailing through. That's all the reasoning that they gave us. This is while Obama himself was in Alaska trying to rename a goofy mountain.
Yes.
Okay, maybe the mountain's not goofy, but just his reason for being there is goofy.
A waste of money.
Like, right, but I still, you know, there was still prophecy in that, by the way, because we put out a broadcast on that. But they had, I mean, he was, you know, there's China sailing by. Did Obama wave at the vessel, or did he ask, well, you know, what the heck are they doing here? They're in our waters.
They're in our waters, and China's one of the main powers out there that's getting to be like the Russians right now.
Okay.
They have some kind of power trip with the U.S. that, like I said, U.S. The Chinese could take over anything, and the U.S. is like they can't do anything. But that's how punk that the U.S. is right now. That any country could come in or just invade us like nothing, and it would be like, okay, all right, this is it. I mean,
God forbid.
God forbid.
There's been a lot of people having end time dreams, though, Lovey, stating China invasion of U.S., Russia invasion of U.S., Canada, you know, you're involved here too, European nations, same thing. We're truly, I mean, this is last days biblical prophecy. You mentioned a distress of nations. That's in Luke chapter 21, verse 25. We know that China is in the Bible, Russia's in the Bible. Many believe that the Russian Federation is spoken of in Ezekiel chapter 38. Many believe that China is also spoken of when it comes to the sixth trumpet, the sixth trumpet war in Revelation chapter 9, and talking about the kings of the east when we mention China, but that would also include Russia, because it's plural when it talks about the kings of the east in Revelation chapter 16 or chapter 19. I don't mean to get the two mixed up, but it refers to the kings of the east as warring in the last days against the coming Lord. I mean, you know, but that's where you have the you know, the Valley of Megiddo and the War of Armageddon. And we're seeing it, you know. I mean, it's really the hour in which we're living in. It's absolutely amazing. It's stunning, and at the same time, very troubling in many areas. Just as, you know, as we touched on a lot of the headlines that we did already. We got to move on. We got more headlines, and time is quickly a-going.